Good morning, and welcome to the Universalist Church on this toasty summer morning, in which love is the spirit. We're glad you're here, whether you're here in our sanctuary today or anywhere in the world on our live stream. I'm Joe Wilson, one of your representatives on our Board of Trustees. If you are a visitor, we hope you'll sign one of our guest books at either entrance to the sanctuary, front here or behind, or visit our webpage, www.westhartforduu.org, to learn more about us. There, you can use the contact page to help you get onto our electronic mailing list. Our electronic communications are the best way for us to all stay connected. We look forward to helping you become part of the Universalist Church. After worship, we'll have fellowship in Fisk Hall and through Zoom. Please join our sharing. If you need help finding your way to Fisk Hall for our fellowship hour, any member of the church will be happy to help you. Just find someone wearing Universalist Church name tag, which I don't have on right now, but later, or just follow the herd. You can find the link for Zoom fellowship in your e-news on Wednesday or on our Breeze calendar. If you aren't getting the e-news, please sign up for it on our website. And now, I invite you to take a moment to make your mobile phone silent, turn off your email, put away those keyboards, and settle in for worship.
Welcome to all here present and all those joining us through cyberspace. Please join us with your home chalice or your home candle as we light our chalice here in the sanctuary. Well, that's not working today. There we go. Just took a while. Okay. As we share the light from this chalice, I call upon you to listen to the words from Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker as we begin our time together to celebrate the connections we can share with one another. Presence burns fiercely, but presence cannot override the decisions of perpetrators of violence. It is a human act to stay the hand of violence, and life is ours to choose. It is a human act to heal the aftermath of violence. Healing is neither a solitary nor simple journey. There is a synergy to grace. The shattered person must respond to what love offers. Connection that will be reliable, and care that will not violate the fragile membranes of ourselves. The wounded soul retains the power to say yes or no to grace. May our chalice always speak to us of this connection, a connection we have accepted and honor in our living covenant that helps us continue to build community in spite of the violence that is around us, with one another, everywhere we can find ourselves. Our opening hymn is hymn number 207 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or in spirit if you are able, in the sanctuary or wherever you may be. Number 207, Earth Was Given as a Garden. join me now in speaking our words of affirmation, our covenant, as printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Just as in our day-to-day lives, a river can easily be an image of all the connections we need to grow, to flow, and to handle all that comes our way. I am here to share with you an excerpt from The River That Flows Beside Me by Charlotte Guyon. Here is a copy of this book, and it will be placed in our family library after this service, so you can take it out anytime. It is uniquely illustrated and designed so that you can truly feel the river as you read. Here is an introduction that the author wrote. This book takes you on a journey from the start or source of a river all the way to its mouth at the ocean. Rivers can be divided into 3 main stages. The upper course, with its waterfalls, gorges, and V-shaped valleys. The middle course, with its fast-flowing water, meanders, and floodplains. And the lower course, where the wide estuary leads into the sea. I am sharing with you the section of the book describing the upper course. You will need to borrow the book to read about the final 2 stages. And so, we begin. High in the mountains, a drip, drip, drip of cold water flows downward. Ice and snow on the rocky peaks melt and trickle down the slope to create the source of the river. The stream winds its way through coniferous and deciduous trees. A white-tailed deer approaches to take a drink from the bubbling water. Here is the river's source. It is also called the headwater. The stream rushes quickly downhill, wearing away the rock over time. The stream is becoming bigger now and turning into a narrow river, gushing rapidly down the rocky slope. As it travels, the moving water collects sand, stones, and small particles called sediment. The fast-flowing river and the material it carries gradually wear away the rock, forming a V-shaped valley. That roaring sound you hear is a waterfall. The riverbed changes here from layers of hard rock to softer stone. The moving water wears away or erodes the soft rock and has created a crashing waterfall. There's a plunge pool at the bottom of the waterfall where the churning water has worn away a deep hole in the riverbed. You're in a gorge now. As the soft rock here was eroded, hard rock was left hanging over the stone below. And when that tougher rock broke off, the waterfall shifted further upstream and left this steep-sided gorge. You'll need a helmet and a life jacket if you want to take a ride on a whitewater raft. Make sure you listen to the guide and paddle hard, and be ready to swim if your raft tips over. These people are canyoning. They're climbing, wading, sliding, and swimming through the gorge. Some prefer to cross the gorge on a zip wire. Shh, look. There are brown bears fishing in the river here. They come to catch salmon that are struggling upstream to lay their eggs and reproduce. The cubs watch their mother to learn how to fish. She leaps and traps a salmon with her paws before grabbing it in her jaws. The river flows on and starts to widen. The water is much slower and calmer now. The river twists and turns in a curving shape now, to and fro across the gentle slopes. This snaking movement is called meandering. And to learn the rest of this story about stage 2 and 3 of the river's life, you can go to the family library and enjoy this book.
The voluntary offering, the sharing of our resources for our shared work as a religious community, is a spiritual practice for us. By offering your time, talent, and treasure to this community, you help us serve our members, our friends, and the wider community of which we are a part. As part of that service, we share our general offering each week with organizations that do work in the world that help us build our beloved community. You, the vote, is the offering for this week, this month actually. And You, the vote is an initiative created by the Unitarian Universalist Association's Side with Love team. It provides UUs an easy-to-engage opportunity to bring our democratic values to life in our crucial struggle to build a genuine multicultural and multiracial democracy. You, the vote, engages people in voter registration, issue education, get out the vote drives, voter protection, state leadership development, and more. You, the vote, does year-round movement building toward ultimately designing a truly inclusive democracy. To give electronically, please use the QR codes on your order of service, the links in the description, or those on our website to make your donation to our offering. Here in the sanctuary, our offering will now be gratefully received. thank you for your generosity for this community and the larger community of which we are a part. With deep gratitude and acceptance of your gifts. This morning, our congregational reading is number 490, Wild Geese in the Gray Hymnal. We're going to read this collectively together. We're not separating things into italics and other print, because the message here is a sacred one, and I want you to be able to say it all together. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clouds of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep rivers, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Now let us join in singing our Doxology. Over this past week, several folks have been affected by Hurricane Beryl. Its multi-country and multi-state impact. May we, in this time of pastoral prayer, hold all those communities in our thoughts, in our hearts. Last night, almost everyone probably here heard somebody text them about the violence that took place in Pennsylvania. So let us also pray that violence not be the option we turn to in handling our differences. Yesterday's shooting at the Trump rally is worrisome. It hurts my soul, as I'm sure it has hurt yours. Let us all work on peaceful resolutions when we find our ideas in conflict with another person's or another group's ideas. In our beloved community, please hold the family of Mike and Sherry S., as well as Hannah G., as they celebrate the love and life of Mike's mother, who died on July 1st after 91 years of living and loving life. The wake was on Friday, the funeral was this past Saturday. And this has been a very difficult month for Mike and for the family, because he lost both his parents this month. Peggy G. wishes to thank our community for all its prayers and good wishes for her husband, Walt. Walt is now home and working closely with outpatient therapy to continue his recovery. He loves being challenged by the physical therapist to do yet another new exercise or activity, which is a great sign of Walt's healing. Vicki and Steve S. are dealing with COVID. May they heal quickly from the virus with no residual effects. And let us now ask that these spoken requests, as well as all those held in each of our hearts, be answered by the Spirit of love we hold dear during our shared silence. And as we will eventually go out and begin our week together, may we be peaceful and thoughtful and caring beings with whoever we meet. Please join me now in singing Spirit of Life.
First reading today is from The Laws of Connection by David Robson. The craving for connection is a universal experience. If I track the emotional landscape of my own life, I find that loneliness accompanied me in the deepest valleys, while moments of mutual understanding pushed me to its highest peaks. We now know that deep bonds do not just bring deep pleasure. According to multiple studies, a greater sense of connection is consistently linked to greater health and longevity. Social activities reduce psychological distress, protect us from infection, and lower the risk of Alzheimer's and heart disease. When people feel that they have strong social support, they can also perform better on tests of problem solving and creativity and enjoy greater professional success. Given the sheer wealth of evidence, scientists are evangelical about the power of connection to improve our well-being. Yet, few of us are getting enough of it. Research over the years has shown that around 50 to 60% of U.S. citizens report feeling social disconnection at regular intervals in their lives. One explanation is that changes to the structure of modern society have made it harder for us to meet people. Examples used are we are less likely to live near our relatives, and that digital technology has taken away face-to-face meetings. This cannot be the whole story, however. For most people, it is the absence of a close emotional bond with the people around us that leaves us disconnected and isolated, rather than a mere lack of social opportunities. Every time we engage with another person, we make decisions that could either bring greater understanding and affection or continued distance and isolation. By learning to identify and overcome the psychological barriers to connection, we can all establish more meaningful relationships with the people around us. Strangers, colleagues, friends, siblings, parents, and romantic partners. Through the change of mindset, anyone can start to create a more fulfilling and stable social network, with all the benefits for our health and creativity that come with it. Our second reading is from Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown. We want to be part of something, to experience real connection with others, but not at the cost of their authenticity, freedom, or power. Participants further reported feeling surrounded by us versus them cultures that create feelings of spiritual disconnection. When I dug deeper into what they meant by spiritual disconnection, the research participants described a diminishing sense of shared humanity. What was counterintuitive for me as I identified the main concerns is that the deeper sense of belonging and connection to a larger humanity gives people more freedom to express their individuality without jeopardizing belonging. I can be myself when I know I am with people who recognize the inextricable, unnameable spiritual connection that is shared humanity, because belonging is not in jeopardy. The relational cultural theory theorist Judith Jordan writes, "The need for connection, in which growth is a priority and is the core motivation in people's lives. In growth-fostering relationships, people are able to bring themselves most fully and authentically into connection. From an evolution perspective, connection was about survival. Today, it's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives." across my research, I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. When they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. Connection is in our neurobiology. This is why our experiences of disconnection are so painful, and why chronic disconnection leads to social isolation, loneliness, and feelings of powerlessness.
I begin today's reflections recognizing that every single person here has a different image in their mind's eye when I speak the word, or you hear the word, connection. The word's etymology comes from the Latin word connectere, which means to bind together. Our opening hymn provided the image of a garden, perhaps one we ourselves tend, or one we enjoy walking through in Elizabeth Park or Fernridge Park. Anyone here who loves gardening truly knows what it is to bind with the earth when you cultivate and grow any type of plants, flowers, or live beings. Our time for all ages gave us the image of a river that flows alongside us. One of the wonders of living here in Hartford, Connecticut, is the marvel of having a river flow through the center of our city. Our music provided several moments to hear imagery in notes from our bells and from the piano. They allow us to not only appreciate the marvelous music, but also to know that the music holds us and allows us to share that binding hold throughout our worship. As always, in preparing for this marvelous opportunity of connecting with all of you, even though I'm X number of feet above steps, I came across more material for this than I could possibly incorporate into our time together, as usual. My first piece, however, comes from an article in the online New York Times dated June 14th, 2024, and it was written by Anthony Ham. The title that caught my eye was, "Why a Three-Legged Lion and His Brother Swam Across a Crocodile-Filled River." I felt this would be interesting since it not only involved a river, but it also involved the idea of connection that these two brother lions shared. And so the article reads this: "On a dark night in February, two male lions stood in the shallows of the Kazina Channel in Queen Elizabeth National Park in Uganda. And they were looking across the river. Nearly a mile away was the shore on the other side. Hippos and 16-foot crocodiles inhabit that channel, which can be 20 feet deep in places. Barely 12 hours earlier, the two male lions had lost a battle for territory and obviously were very lucky to be alive. Remaining on this side of the channel was dangerous, however. As with many cat species, lions don't like to go swimming. And one of the lions, known as Jacob by researchers, had only 3 legs. He lost his 4th limb in a poacher's trap in 2020. But neither Jacob nor his brother Taboo were deterred from their decision. The two big cats set out for what the researchers call the longest recorded swim ever taken by lions. The lions struggled on their first tries to cross. During the second attempt, the drone that the researchers had out to track them picked up a large thermal signature that may have been a crocodile or a hippo in pursuit. The two lions split in a Y to get themselves back to shore as quickly as possible. Less than an hour after the first attempt, the two set out again for their third try. The path seemed clear, and they kept going until they had truly crossed the channel. Now, according to researchers, lions and other big cats have been known to cross rivers and bodies of water, but never this far. It was estimated to be a full mile of swimming. When asked why for such a risky trip, the researchers clearly noted it was for connection. quote, "If you don't have a very long lifespan, you have to get with the program, especially if you are wounded, to begin to build a relationship with some female lions." As Brene Brown noted in our reading, I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. The following poem, "You're a Me," by Monet Echo, captured that sustenance and strength well for me. So I share it with you this morning. It's amazing how another human being can change the way you see. When you really know somebody else, you'll find that they're a me. You find out that the thoughts they have are also never ceasing, and the list of things you learn from them will always be increasing. You learn their inner monologue as if it were your own. You hear the fine print of their brain in their voices and their pitch and their tone. This person is as detailed as you know yourself to be. Their story is as known to them as the wind is to any tree. A being who can ponder, who can think beyond the concrete, the vast expanse of ideas in one mind makes the body seem obsolete. The depth of all reality, something immeasurable, is captured in the inner workings of this thing that is a soul. A person who was just someone can become much more than he or she or they or them. You've truly grasped some wisdom when you see that person as a me. And even more enlightening are the thoughts that might occur when you contemplate that there are a billion me's on this earth. Last week, I also had the privilege of attending the Adrian Dominican Sisters Memorial Service for my former assistant novice mistress, Sister Jody Screes. Jody, ironically, gave me this star and the last time I visited her. And if you can't see it, it has peace written across it. She wanted me to have something special from her trip to Rome and meeting Pope Francis. Jody was a South Bend kid, just like me. So we had a connection that was built upon in the years that followed my time living in the community and then leaving it. Each year, as I went back to Adrian for my annual retreat, Jody and I would spend quality time catching up and sharing what the time since our last visit brought into our lives. It always was a time I loved and appreciated deeply. I wish to share with you part of her reflection about what connections with others meant to her. This was written 2 days before her death and read by one of her closest friends at the wake. Quote, "In the moments following my death, I would like to pause long enough to give deep and wondrous gratitude to those who throughout my life have surrounded me and embraced me in love and connected me to them." My grateful heart goes out to the Adrian Dominican women, those living and deceased, as well as all the former members who have touched my life and made it fuller than one could ever imagine. During that service, sisters, family members, and former sisters spoke about Jody's wondrous gift of connecting, of being able to bring people into her circle of life, to in fact provide a bonding together. I cherish the star. It hangs on the lamp next to my bed, so I see it every morning and every night, because it reminds me that the connecting bond is not only possible, but sustained beyond chronological time and physical being. I thank you, Jody, for yet another gift, but one more precious than I can express. Finally, I wish to connect all of us with the wonderful written efforts from the author of our other reading, David Robeson. In your pews, yeah. I'm having a problem talking this morning, right? In your pews are brightly colored papers with the title Laws of Connection. Throughout his book, David explores each of these laws with thorough analysis and critical thinking. Each of the chapters in his book, Laws of Connection, ends with a summation he calls What You Need to Know, followed by a section called Action Points. I can't recommend this book highly enough if you wish to enhance and deepen your connections. I will close with the words from David that I found resonating, especially at this time in our country, as we face so much uncertainty and the need to continue to forge deeper connections with one another in order to sustain us, to hold us, to allow us to be more whole. David notes, each person is a multi-dimensional being with an infinite capacity to surprise. And we may all build much stronger relationships by respecting this simple fact and allowing ourselves more time and effort to discover our similarities and understand our differences. May our week ahead find us discovering new images and new visioning to help us create, maintain, and further develop the connections that we have already formed, that may be coming our way that we didn't expect, that we need to build deeper, so that we live more fully and wholly into the me that each of us is meant to be. May it be so. Our closing hymn is hymn number 114 in the gray hymnal, Forward Through the Ages. Let us now speak our unison benediction together. Engage with the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Please remain for our postlude. A reminder to you to enjoy your clear day with one another downstairs in this hall.